All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the Teach and Learn with WiscNet about Cybersecurity Month. We're going to give people a few more minutes to hop on, and then we will get started. All right, the initial influx of people has kind of stopped, so we'll just let people trickle in. Again, welcome. Good morning, everyone. My name is Michaela Kukin. I'm a member fulfillment specialist here at WiscNet. Want to start off by saying thank you all so much for joining and being with us this morning. We're excited to spend some time with you during Cybersecurity Month. A quick housekeeping things. This session is going to be recorded and emailed to all registrants probably about a week after this session. And then we'll be leaving some time at the end for questions. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat and we'll answer them at the end. Moving on. So this is the rough agenda for this morning. We're going to do a quick meet our new CTO, then go over kind of the basic 3 or 4 things that you can do, go over our cybersecurity knowledge base, and then end with our general knowledge base and questions. With that, I'll hand things over to Margarita and Ibrahim. Or just kidding. We're going to go to Rich first.
Thanks, Michaela. Hello, everybody. Very excited to be here this morning. I already see some very familiar names in the group who are joining us today. My name is Rich Turiel. I am the new CTO here at WiscNet. Like I mentioned, I see some familiar names because I spent 17 years here. I was here from 2001 through 2019, which actually probably sounds a little more like 17 years to me, but so I was originally here at WiscNet. I was gone for the last 5.5 years, working in at Securely, which some of you do use through WiscNet. So I continued to work with you during that time. Very, very happy to be back here at WiscNet as the new CTO. I've been, in the nonprofit ed tech world for over 20 years, and like I mentioned, just super excited to be back in the WiscNet community, super excited to be working with you all. Have some great ideas and great connections that I want to reconnect with here. Please feel free to reach out to me if you are have any questions regarding my role here, or if you are having any issues with any specific things on the support side of things, I would be the person to talk to. On the engineering side of things, if you're having any issues or have any ideas or have any things you want to discuss, reach out to me and let me know. Be glad to start a conversation with you, and be glad to chat with you about anything you're interested in talking about. I'll also be out in the field at some WiscNet events coming up at the Secure Platform event next week. I will be attending that. And for those who may be attending that, I'll see you there as well. I'll be joining Brian Reamer, our new CEO, on his next CEO stop November 7th at the school district of Waukesha. So please, if you see me there, come up, say hello. I'd love to restart some conversations with members and just start hearing from you. And it's those connections that are the most important piece of my being here. And like I mentioned, super excited to be here. Yes, and we'll drop my email in the chat. So if you have any questions, just please feel free to reach out to me at any time. But just wanted to hop in here. I'm at a conference right now, but I wanted to make sure I got to say hello to everybody. I'll be dropping off in just a few minutes, but so excited to be back here at WiscNet, and so excited to be working with you all again.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rich. I was going to suggest you putting your email in the chat, so perfect. You beat me to it. All right. So actually, just kidding. Annetta beat you to it. Now we will take it over to Margarita and Ibrahim.
Good morning, everybody. It's Cybersecurity Month, and we wanted, Margarita and I, as the secure platform consultants at WiscNet, wanted to touch base on a few basic things that people can focus on. Obviously, there's a lot of things that you can do in your cybersecurity posture, but these are the things that we decided to talk about. If you want to go to the next slide, Michaela. All right, first one's going to be patch and asset management. Most of you guys already know this stuff, but we're going to go through it just in case there's people who don't know. But the first thing that you want to do when dealing with this is know what you have, right? Start by maintaining an up-to-date inventory of all devices, software, and systems in your network. This includes everything from student computers and teacher laptops to network routers and administrative tools. If possible, use asset management software to log and track what you have. Keeping a centralized inventory allows you to quickly identify what needs updates and when, streamlining the patching management process. So a tip on this is also to categorize assets by importance so you can focus on the most critical systems first. And then next slide, please. All right, building off that last slide, track your risks. Not all devices or programs are equal in terms of risk. For example, older systems or software that no longer are supported can be more vulnerable to cybersecurity attacks. And for this next point, as best you can, conduct regular vulnerability assessments, as best you can, obviously, to identify high risks in the systems that you have. You should prioritize patching critical infrastructure such as servers and administrative systems. And the tip in this is use resources like NIST Cybersecurity and CISA.gov, obviously. And I provided a link to their framework. It's a quick start guide. It's about 5-page read, so it's not too bad. And not only the what this topic, but other topics as well. And I think then I pass it on to Margarita. If you want to go to the next slide.
There's one more. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I got one more. Using tools to help as best you can, right? So again, this is if you're able to get it set up, but automating the process is your best friend here. Automation can help monitor for available updates, track which systems need patching, and automatically apply them when needed. Patch management software can also notify you of high priority vulnerabilities, reducing the manual effort for tracking updates for each system. So tools like Microsoft System Center Configuration Manager, the SCCM, or third-party solutions like SolarWinds can help with that. And that should be good. Yep. Go ahead, Margarita.
All right. So the next thing we wanted to talk about is password management. Again, it's a pretty basic thing, but it's just a good reminder to focus on creating strong passwords and user education of creating that. So just a few bullet points here. Again, like I said, educate your users on importance of strong and unique passwords. It's important because we can reuse passwords are among the most common ways attackers gain unauthorized access to the system. And schools are, as a lot of you guys know, one of the prime targets due to volume of personal and educational data that they store. Make password training part of the onboarding. So start early with a strong foundation by incorporating password best practices into onboarding process for new staff and, if applicable, teachers and students, and make sure everybody knows the importance of creating strong passwords right from the start. Require strong passwords and restrict usage. You know, some of us or a lot of us could be guilty of reusing, you know, weak passwords, or even if they're strong ones. So make sure you make it a policy that all passwords must be long, random, and unique for each system. And this ensures if one password is compromised, it won't be reused across multiple accounts. Enforce password history. So prevent users from reusing the same password repeatedly by setting password history requirements. For instance, they cannot reuse the last 5 passwords, if possible. Implement a password manager for ease of use. I personally love using a password manager. You know, it like 1Password, and this allows users to store and generate strong, unique passwords without having to remember them all. All you have to do is remember one strong master password, and this also reduces the temptation to reuse password or choose simpler ones, and it also securely stores login credentials, encrypting them, so users can only need to remember that one master password. Require changing default credentials. So a lot of you know, software systems and devices like firewalls and other ones come with default usernames, and those are easily accessible online. You can find them. So attackers use those credentials and try to access the system. So make sure you lock it down to, if possible, to your organization's IP addresses and ranges, and make it a policy to change all default credentials right from the beginning upon installations. All right, next slide. Back to Ibrahim.
All right. The second or the last topic we wanted to touch on is backup management. Automate backups as wherever you can. Set up automatic backups to run on a regular schedule. This helps ensure that critical data is always protected, even if you forget to back it up manually. Use backup software or services that allow you to easily manage and automate the process, reducing the chances of data loss due to human error. So, you know, I think the tip that we're going to give here is that use the cloud-based services for automatic backups, but you can, you know, obviously, and we'll touch on it a little bit later, is to have physical ones offsite as well, but which can provide offsite storage without additional hardware. And examples of this would be Google Workspace for education and Microsoft OneDrive for education. You know, most schools use Google or Microsoft, so those are easy solutions for most entities. Next slide. Store backups securely. So keep your backups in a separate secure location. This could be offsite physical location or a secure cloud service, which protects against physical threats like fire or theft. Ensure that your backup systems are encrypted and protected from unauthorized access, just like your primary systems. The common rule that the industry states is the 3-2-1 rule, which is keep 3 copies of your data in 2 different formats, one being stored offsite. And finally, again, as best you can, schedule regular tests to verify that your backup systems are functioning properly and that your data can be recovered without issue. And then the resource link for this is the CISA.gov, but similar to the one that I mentioned in the asset management from NIST cybersecurity guide, these can both help with backup or a bunch of other topics. And yep, and on Margarita.
Oh, good. Before we go into the cybersecurity knowledge base, I wanted to share quick one thing I forgot to share. Michaela, if you want to stop sharing your screen for a bit. So this is last year chart, but and I had it saved here, but it's from Hive Systems. You know, some of you probably familiar with that. So it's just to show kind of how, depending on the password complexity, how quickly you can crack a password. I thought it was just kind of a fun slide, fun chart to share. All right, so on to the security knowledge base. I think some of you know, but we have our general knowledge base, and this is our cybersecurity resources. So you can get there by going to our public knowledge base, clicking on cybersecurity resources, and this is work in progress. So we wanted, you know, some of you familiar with these resources, but we wanted to create kind of a central place for our members to be able to get to these resources from one place. The first thing we have here is the cyber incident emergency contact. So we listed the Wisconsin Cyber Response Team's phone number here if you're experiencing a cyber incident. Again, this is some of the resources that were listed. Again, we'll be adding to this page, and so you can see here we have links to CISA, MSISAC, K-12-6 resources. So K-12-6 has a free self-assessment tool, and also we have some resources based on the WiscNet member organization type. So we have a link to, we started a glossary on cybersecurity terms. And also, if you have suggestions or if you have questions about security, or you want to know where to start, or you have a specific question, please, there's contact information to get a hold of us. So we also have some helpful links here. Again, work in progress. And also link to WiscNet events. This goes to our WiscNet website that lists all the events. So with that, I am going to hand it off to Alex to talk about our general knowledge base and some troubleshooting tools.
Thanks, Margarita. Kayla, can you throw the slides back up, please? Perfect. So, all right, a few things I'm going to cover today are just usually what we see with members, the biggest issues we deal with on the support side. I'm just going to cover the DNS stuff right away. Basically, WiscNet has if you have membership access, we have the capability to host your records. And what that means is that we can make quick changes for anything that you may need if you're doing some projects internally, or website changes are required, or often enough, what we usually use it mostly for is to authenticate security certificates. And that allows us, since we have the account, that we can just authenticate with the DNS to basically get a turnaround time with under 5 minutes, I've found sometimes, depending on the type of certificate. And we can allow others to have access to their own DNS records in the portal. We just need to make sure that everyone signs off on it, and that everything's good, that the authorized people are allowed to get in there, because there have been issues before that certain people weren't educated enough about what changes they were making, how they would affect everything. So we just like to confirm that if people are going to have access, that they understand, and that can usually just be a quick phone call chat of like, this is what it is, or going to the public DNS pages here and just doing a quick overview to understand of like how everything's set up. It's very GUI like. And then if there's ever questions with that, you can obviously just give us a call or open a support ticket, and we'll gladly help to fix anything or help anyone where it needs to be. And then moving on to certificates, WiscNet is partnered with DigiCert to purchase certificates at lowered pricing. And how this usually works is that we'll get notifications depending, or members will ask for a new certificate, and that is usually just us asking for a CSR from wherever that certificate's going to be hosted, and then the amount of time it's going to be purchased. And once that's done, the turnaround time is usually pretty short for the support staff to get those set up. Once in a while, the DigiCert will have to make an organization validation, and that does take some bit longer because that is a different team than we usually work with, and that would be them reaching out to the member in question individually, and that we don't have any direct control over how long that takes. We can push it a little bit sometimes, but that's very much, you get to work with the system to make it go. But overall, it's not too bad. And then the last thing I'm going to cover is bandwidth graphs, and this is probably the most useful for something a member can do individually. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the generic bandwidth graph. I just picked Appleton City randomly because it was easy to remember. What this shows is a bunch of data that we use to just see what's going on in a day-to-day graph for each member of, let's say, more traffic than normal, or some things they went down for a little bit. The easiest things for you guys to remember is the device A, which will be the device on site at the member location. That is usually what we will log into to make sure that everything's running or something's off, or if we can't get to that, then we'll usually start calling other people. And then device Z would be our hub sides, our larger routers that we usually monitor from. And then if you ever have a question, or especially if you have multiple circuits, a great thing to bring up to us when you call saying, hey, this is down, or a specific circuit is down, the little circuit ID number at the bottom, if you let us know about that one right away, that is the one having an issue, that's a great way for us to be save some time to just pinpoint what the issues may be. And then for a general knowledge, I put the little Uno reverse card showing that the hub side and then the member side device are direct inverses of each other. So where one may show a large upload, that's from the perspective of that device, which should be the exact opposite of the other. And then I put a link to the graphs, which is a little purple underlined hyperlink up in the upper right for when you guys get this. And that's just a direct link to the graphs page for anyone to play around with or to bookmark for future. Next slide, please. And then some people may have run into this situation where WiscNet does not have a site managed CPE. And so that only means that we can't tell what is happening up to the members' direct LAN. We can only tell from the hub device that they're connected to in the circuit. So you'll note, as you can see, the little question mark man, that's why an entire column's missing. This happens a lot when we have turnover or new people, that they might not understand why they don't have that second column. And that's just because there isn't a device that we can get polling from. But that doesn't change any process of how we'll work with you. That just means that just a little more effort and time may be required to figure out what's going on. And you can see that by the interface A that site manage shows that the lack of a CPE. and that's just to let people know it's like, don't be surprised if you see this is not uncommon. And then the last portion I have is another little bandwidth sort of area. I'm going to share my screen here, and this is sort of a test that we use to just see if we're getting expected behavior along a member circuit. And so this is the general command. It's usually, it's an iperf. It saturates a large amount of the circuit. It usually want to do it during off hours because it can cause a lot of performance issues. So the iperf 3 is the one we're using now. -C for client, and you'll put it at iperf.wiscnet.net. You want parallel upper P for parallel threads and 4, so 4 core CPU is usually necessary, and then a T for time, and we can even go as low as 15 seconds. And then you'll see that it'll connect for each of the threads, and then you'll get a generic output of this. And this is one of our servers, so we're getting about 7.5 average. So that's about to be expected. And then just can't.
I think he might have frozen.
Alex, you still there?
So basically he shoot himself because
He-
he's done the test, so he's gonna be
He basically DDoSed himself.
yes.
Yep. He should have adjusted the bandwidth on it, but that's all right. No worries.
Alex, are you back? Okay, I'm not sure how much else that he had.
Yeah.
But while we wait for him to come back, there have been a little bit of chat going on. Ibrahim, if you kind of want to go over some of the stuff that you talked about. So Patrick asked about DDoS mitigation capabilities.
And then Mike asked about a little bit more of the backup and encryption stuff. So at WiscNet, we do offsite storage, I think with the company in Michigan. And that's again, I don't have exact details on all of this, but one of the engineers would. And then we do on-site backups as well with all of our basically routers and backbone routers as well. So again, I don't know exactly what detail we were looking at, but Mike, we can discuss it further as you like. And just in general, for anybody in the chat, if they have any other questions, just shoot them here about cybersecurity, and we can help either guide you guys, or if someone else from the membership has a response for them, that would be great.
And anyone feel free to unmute and ask any questions that you have.
And again, we're learning just as much as everybody else. So if we don't have the response, we can help get it for you, or rely on somebody from the membership who has a quick response. So feel free. And then for the DDoS, a question from Patrick. I'll put something together for Patrick, but I'm gonna see if there's a good Confluence page or anything that we can share with the membership as well.
Yeah, and
I can just
anything that you create, we can also include in the post email that has this recording, and then I'll link any of the links that we talked about here. Let me go back to sharing.
And Ibrahim, that question was regarding preventative notification to you guys. Ripon College recently hosted VP Harris a couple weeks ago. So we did reach out because we did have a concern that, you know, with such a high profile visit, we were going to see an increase in cybersecurity attacks, possible ransomware, things like that, and DDoS. And Secret Service did ask us if we were reaching out preventatively as well. So that was the main focus, was preventative and not just reactive mitigation.
For sure, yeah, and that's something that we struggle with as well too. Again, in my response to you, if you saw it, we recently got a solution called Kentech, which should help with that. We're still tweaking it and learning it ourselves, but that would help with the preventative situations with DDoS. So, but again, we're still working on it. We didn't want to push any messages to the membership yet. It's a work in progress.
And Patrick, just to add to what you said when you reached out to us, notifying about the event that you're going to have, we actually did create some, you know, alerts in Kentech for your organization, just to see, you know, to monitor your connection for DDoS attack.
Oh, fantastic. If you have any that you're willing to share, we'd love to know.
Okay. Yeah, like Ibrahim said, we're not rolling out for this solution for membership yet. I think we're going to take some time to learn it, like Ibrahim said, but there is a possibility for this solution to be available to our members as well at some point.
Yep. But again, Patrick, you did the correct thing. You reached out to us, and that gave us a chance to work on it and prepare ourselves as well too. And even if like we had to be reactive, let's say, at least we had all hands on deck and ready to go.
Much appreciated.
Yep, appreciate it.
And if anyone else on this call, you know, if you have something, what like Patrick was saying, an important event, or you're concerned, just reach out to us. So the Kentech solution that we are evaluating or learning right now, so it allows us for better visibility and monitoring for different types of attacks. Or if you have a connection issue, it's also, like I said, it's a good troubleshooting tool.
Alex make it back, or is he still being DDoSed by himself?
I think he's back somewhere.
Okay, awesome.
Let me just get back to so this slide also has some of those kind of helpful links, our two Confluence pages, and then a link to the CISA tools page. Oopsies. And then I will send these in the email as well. And then real quick, so our next Teach and Learn tentatively is going to be Wednesday, December 11th. It's going to be a platform update, similar to what we did at WiscNet Connections in the spring, but to give a little bit more of what we've been up to over the summer, everything like that. We did this last December as well, to give kind of a 2 times during the year, a little bit of platform updates. So keep an eye out for that first communication. That first communication about the event will probably go out next month sometime. So keep an eye out for that. And then, as always, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us. And if there are any other questions for Margarita and Ibrahim or Alex today, again, feel free to drop it in the chat or unmute. Okay. I'm not hearing a whole lot, but you have our information. If you come up with something later this morning or in a couple of days from now, definitely feel free to reach out. And I wanted to thank you all so much for joining us today. And keep an eye out in the next week for the follow-up email with the recording and all the links. Otherwise, we will give you back some of your day. All right.
Thank you, Michaela.
Thanks, Michaela. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
I hope
Yeah, feel
Alex will
free-
be back.
Yeah, feel free to
Oh yeah, I'm
send us
here. I'm
questions.
sorry. Zoom
All
is
right.
an issue with my OS. So
Got you.
All right. And Alex lives, so we we are all set. All right. Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you.